Hey everybody, it's Benita. It's been a minute since we had a little chat. Because, I've been so under the weather, fighting my sinuses and everything. And so, sinuses for me can turn into a number of different problems. But I'm so glad to be doing better, much better. Not 100%, but much, much better. I had to go out today. It was time for my 3-month field study test at the eye doctor. So, first of all, I hope you guys are doing well. Hope everybody is feeling well and enjoying the weather. Those of you that are in the path of those storms, my prayers are sincerely with you guys. I hope you guys are staying really safe and not ignoring the warnings, okay? That's the most important thing. Don't ignore the warnings. We don't need any heroes. We don't need anybody trying to, sacrifice themselves. Jesus already did all of that, okay? So we can live and have the abundant life, okay? So pay attention to the warnings. If you got to evacuate, evacuate. You can get more stuff. Trust me, I know exactly what I'm talking about. You can get more stuff. You can get another place to live, but you can't replace a life, okay? So please make sure you all are paying attention to all of those warnings and taking heed to whatever your local officials are telling you to do, okay? So, and I'm praying specifically for my family, all of my family, particularly my immediate family. My siblings are in Florida. I am the only one that does not live in Florida. So, I'm the only one that lives here out of state in Georgia. And that's because I'm getting the best medical care here for someone who has 2 different types of brain tumors. I would be crazy to go back home and have to start all over finding doctors. No. We've been on this journey for 12 years and God has been with us every step of the way. It would be absolutely ludicrous for me to go back and start over again. That being said, today was my 3-month checkup. I have to have checkups in intervals of 3 months because of the location of the first tumor is so critical to my eye center, my optical center. The second type of brain tumor that I have consists of the spinal fluid and the way that flows, okay? So those 2 things in conjunction, with those 2 things, I have to have my sight monitored, I have to have my eye pressure monitored, and I have to have the nerves in my eyes monitored. Okay, so I'll give you for instance, let's just say this is my eye center. This circle is my eye center. The tumor is sitting here, right there. So, if those of you, I have a subscription group on Facebook called Benita Bradley Manifestation Group. It's only $2.99 a month. If you are a part of that group, I'll start posting more videos of me actually talking to my doctors and my specialists so that you can understand the difference between the 2 types of brain tumors and how they interact with each other sometimes, okay? So today I had to have what's called a field study test. So that measures my range of motion, range of vision in both eyes and all of that. So the reason why I have to have that every 3 months, again, because the second type of brain tumor is when the spinal fluid, the pressure from the spinal fluid rises too high. So, when that happens, I get these, I already have migraines, but when that happens, I get these, take me to the king headaches. Like right now, if you don't take me to the king, I'm gonna take myself kind of headaches. And so, I had the procedure done in July 31st, but I had a complication a day or so after, maybe 2 days after the procedure, which landed me in the hospital for about 4 or 5 days. those days included being in the hospital on my birthday. So I never really got to celebrate my birthday. It was August the 6th. Still haven't really done anything special. But I'm here. So because of that, so today was the time to recheck my vision and all of that. So the good news is that the treatment, I can stay on the treatment like I am, 1,000, I take 1,000 in the morning, no, 500 in the morning, 500 milligrams in the evening. So that's 1,000 milligrams a day for the treatment medication that I'm on. So that's going well. However, if the spinal fluid gets high again, like it was, they keep talking about putting in a shunt. Okay, so they've been offering me the shunt since 2017, and I all of the research that I've done about the shunt, it hasn't made me feel like, okay, this is the route I want to take. You know what I mean? It has not given me, okay, let's do this. You know, this is the answer for me. It hasn't given me that. And so we have come to the point to where now we're talking about it again. You know, every year they bring it up to me, and every year I say, there's got to be another way. So today, after he went over everything, he pulled my results from the hospital, from the procedure I had, and from the complication and all of that. So he says right now he's not recommending that I go back to surgery with my neurosurgeon to have the shunt put in. Now, let me tell you why that is the mother lode for me. Putting in a shunt would mean they would put the shunt into my brain here, inside here. Okay, the tubing will go all the way through my neck here. Here's the tubing will go here, and then the tubing will come around here, go along this collarbone, go down here, go all the way down, all the way down, all the way down, and drain into my stomach. So that keeps the fluid and the spinal fluid pressure down. Okay, this is my thing, and this is what I keep telling them. A shunt is man-made. Anything man-made is subject to fail. Pre-adventure, I said, okay, let's do the shunt. The shunt has a recall on it. Guess what? They got to go in there and take it out. Then they got to put another one in. Well, if that shunt fails, y'all see what I'm saying? So the shunt, to me, it never had a positive connotation one way or the other. It was just nothing ever positive popped up in my mind and say, okay, let's go with this. No. And all of the research that I've done hasn't been good. And I know some people might say, well, you know, I had the shunt put in and it worked for me. I was even talking to the doctor in the hospital, the doctor that ended up doing my blood patch. A blood patch is what I had to have when I had complications from the lumbar puncture. So my high was at 18. When they drained spinal fluid off, I was at a 12, which is really good. And so the complications came when I got home, probably 2 or 3 days later. I wound up having to go in the hospital. And the only way to fix that particular problem, they had to draw blood and then take me back to do another procedure where they took that blood and put it into my spine so that that blood can, I guess, gel or coagulate around where my spine was pierced at to seal it, to stop the fluid from leaking out. Okay, so that's a spinal leakage headache. It makes you feel like it's like thunder and lightning and screaming and deadbolts. It's a pain I can't describe. No human being should be able to or should have to withstand that kind of pain. And so while I was there, the pain was so enormous. They kept me doped up on morphine. That's the only thing that could help that level of pain. And I was ready to go home, but the pain was too much. And because of the pain, it kept rising my blood pressure. So of course they wasn't gonna let me go home like that. So the doctor that did the blood patch, he and I were talking about it. He said, well, have they ever mentioned the shunt to you? And I said, yeah. And I said, but I don't feel good about that. He says, well, my sister had that put in, and after that, I think he said she either lost her hearing or her sight, one of the two. He said, but before the shunt, she could hear and see. After the shunt, I think he said she either lost her sight or her hearing, one of the two, I can't remember. And I said, see, that's my thing. Yeah, it might fix one problem, but it's going to cause a whole different set of problems over here. So, I mean, I've trusted God for 12 years dealing with 2 different types of brain tumors. Why am I going to get in fear now and just rush to get a shunt put in? Y'all see what I'm saying? And so even though that may be an answer, it's not the answer for me. And so for now, I can stay on the treatment, and then I have to be monitored every 3 months. So I go back January 6, 8, something like that. So I'm under 3-month monitoring. I'd rather do that than to have, you know, be cut on again, and y'all just don't know. Y'all just, somebody say, oh, you make it look so easy. Honey, this is only the grace of God, and I do what I'm supposed to do to take care of my temple. You know, I eat right. I try to treat people right. I, mostly stay to myself. I just, if I do something wrong, I'm quick to repent. If I offend somebody, if I don't know I offend you, you got to let me know. Give me a chance to make it right, But if I knowingly offend you, I'm going to apologize. Give me a minute, I'll apologize. But other than that, I can't just hop outside of faith at this point and get scared and start saying, okay, give me the shunt, give me the shunt. That's the easy route. That is the easy route in some cases, because would it eliminate the problem? Of course. But would it also cause more problems? I feel like it would. I feel absolutely like it would. And for that reason, I have not had to go ahead in my spirit about a shunt at all. Like I said, I have trusted God this far, and I don't believe that after 12 years I would jump out of faith and jump into fear and just start doing stuff, because there are times when even where my faith isn't, I know that my relationship with God sustains me in that area. There are times when my faith gets weak, my faith gets tried, my faith gets weary, but my relationship with God is that even though times when my faith is weak, I can fall back on the strength of our relationship. Does that make sense to anybody? The strength of our relationship sometimes outweighs my faith. Yeah, it does. Because sometimes my faith, it fails me. Sometimes the situations are so surmountable in my eyes. Like, God, you forgot about me? I thought we had something special. And so anytime my faith gets there, I really have to lean back on my relationship with God. And when I say relationship, I'm not talking about something super spooky or super spiritual or, every 5 minutes I'm quoting. I don't live like that. I'm sorry. I live in a real world. I deal with real people. I have real problems, and I look for real solutions. Period. And sometimes, you know, if I'm reaching out, you know, and I get it, prayer, you know, people believe that prayer is the answer to all things. But if I'm hungry, I don't need you to pray for me. Just give me a piece of bread. So I live in a real world. I live in a real world. I don't consider myself super religious. I consider myself in a super relationship with God. You understand what I'm saying? So my relationship with him is the thing that has kept me these 12 years. It's the thing that keeps me now, you know. I hear it all the time. Well, you don't look like this. You don't look like that. You don't look like you're going through this. Honey, it's the grace of God. Let me tell you. It's the grace of God. It's his grace. And I'm thankful to him. You know, I'm most gracious to God for all that he's done, all he's doing, even the things I can't see right now. You know, I'm never shy about talking about losing my home. I'm living in a hotel, you know, all of that stuff. But my relationship with God is still solid. You might not agree with everything I say. That's okay. You might not agree with everything I do. And that's okay. But you don't get to determine what my relationship with God is. Nobody should be able to determine what your relationship with God is. I can see you drive by and slap 50 people. That don't mean you ain't saved. That just means you're a saved person that drove by and slapped 50 people. Because you might have been having a bad day. Who's to say? You know what I mean? So, let your relationship be your relationship. And I promise you, even when your faith is not where it needs to be, just kind of lean back on your relationship. Just lean back in them. Lean back in them, you know. Sometimes that's all I can do. Just lean back in God. Lean back in him. Let him hold you. Let him rock you. Let him reassure you. You know, sometimes that's all we can do, is just lean back in him. Take a couple of deep breaths and try to carry on. It's no real big mystery. It's no hocus pocus. It's, you know, just lean back in him. Lean back in him. I promise you, he'll hold you even when you don't feel like he's there. Trust me. There's plenty of time I don't know if God is there or not. But if I lean back far enough, I can feel him. I can feel him there. Okay? So I want to share my good news with you guys. Even when my faith is not where it needs to be, my relationship with him is solid. Solid. All right? Know that I love you. I hope the best for all of you. And remember to be kind to each other. You don't never know what the next person is going through. People can look like they're on top of the world. They can look like $1 million and feel like absolutely 50 cents. They can feel like a penny. And you would never know. You would never know. Depression doesn't have a look. Suicidal tendencies doesn't have a look. Anxiety doesn't have a look. You will be surprised at the number of people that are dealing with mental illnesses, and they look just like you. Normal. I look normal. You know, but I'm anything far from normal. But guess what? Me and my abnormal self, guess what? I lean back in them, honey. I have learned to lean back in God. That's where my peace is. That's where my joy is. That's where my hope is. My faith don't be there all the time. So sometimes I can't depend on my faith, but I can depend on my relationship. Because even when faith fails me, I still got a relationship. I hope that makes sense to somebody. I want to share my good news. No surgery recommended at this time. That's good news. That's good news. If you know my story, you'll understand, honey, that's good news. I don't know if I've gone a full year without having to have a surgery, a procedure, or what. No surgery. Wait a minute at this time. No more procedures. I told them, happy holidays, happy new year, because I'm not coming back to see y'all until next year. It's like, okay, but if you need, I ain't gonna need you. But if I need you, I'll call you. You know? So, the last thing I want to share with you guys, you know, I often tell you that when I lost my home in January of this year, I thought I would absolutely die. You know, and at one point I wanted to. You know, I'd worked through those dark moments, I call them. But you know, being in this hotel has given me time to sit down and get some other things done. You know, I had a huge IRS debt hanging over me. I know y'all don't think homeless people have rich people problems, but everybody that has lost a home, we wasn't always homeless. Okay, just let me put a pin in that for you. Some of us have did well, and just life started lifing more than what we thought it would life. Particularly in my situation, I thought, heck, when I had the first brain surgery back in 2016, I thought that was it. One brain surgery, boom. Had the next brain surgery, May 2017. I thought that was it for me. Here I am 12 years later. Just had my last procedure July 31st this year. I didn't think it was going to last this long. So things happen. Life happens. And the thing about it is, never allow people to make you feel so ashamed that you consider what should never be considered. I have to say it like that. You know, self-harm. I have a history of it. So the enemy knows anytime things get out of control and get all topsy-turvy for me, he brings that thought to me. Because now I can't fix this. It's completely out of my control. I can't get a handle of anything right now. And I don't like that feeling. Because I'm used to being, I'm her. So, it gave me a chance to talk with the IRS. We've been going back and forth. Honey, on that last back and forth, I had to lean back in God. I leaned back in God, and I waited a while. And when I heard the Holy Spirit say, now call them, I called them. And let me tell y'all this, and then I'm going to be done because I'm hungry. When I called the IRS, I had them to do a search for me. The lady came back. She said, Miss Bradley, I see your file. She said, but your file has been zero balanced out. So in my mind, I'm thinking, I know I ain't pay all them thousands of dollars. Who paid them? I mean, in my mind, I ain't saying it to her. In my mind, I'm thinking, I ain't paying all them thousands of dollars back. Who paid? And I said, can you tell me the last time a payment was made? She said, no, you don't really need that information. All you need to know is you have zero liability to the IRS. And I say, well, do you guys, so I'm still not understanding, you know, I'm still not understanding what God has done here. So I said, well, do you all have a collection agency? She said, ma'am, You're talking to the IRS. We are our own collection agency. And I said, oh, okay. I said, can you just check one more time for me? She says, ma'am, just to put your mind at ease, I'll do it again for you, but it's going to come back the same. She said, I rang your name 3 times already. I said, so what are you saying? She's saying, I'm telling you, you have a zero balance. The IRS will never, can never come after you again for any amount because you have zero liability to the IRS. Baby, let me tell you something. I hung up that phone. I said, thank you, man. God bless you. Have a nice day. And I cried like a baby. Because the one person you don't want to have to owe and have that hanging over your head is the IRS. So for me, now, the IRS stands for in my real sight. Because, honey, I knew I didn't have those thousands of dollars to pay. I knew that. I didn't know how I was going to, and, I didn't know how that was going to turn out for me. But I tell you this, every time I get to that point and I've learned how to lean back in God, God does something that I don't know he's done. You know what I'm saying? I don't know he's done it until it's already done. And then when I find out he has done it, it just makes me more grateful to him. Makes me more thankful. It gives me more awareness that every time the enemy makes me think that I'm alone and that God has forsaken me because of living in this hotel and because 2 different types of brain tumors. Every time the enemy makes me think, well, why God didn't just take the brain tumor away? Why he just didn't do that? Why he just didn't do this? God does something else while I'm just leaning back in him. You understand what I'm saying? It's nothing I do or can do to make God move except for lean back in him. That's all I can do at this point. I had to learn how to lean into him. Lean into him. And so I just wanted to share a little bit because I haven't been feeling well with this sinuses and everything. And that took me down for a while. So today was my kind of my first day, really sprucing up a little bit, everywhere I went, I got compliments on my color blue and all that kind of stuff everywhere I went today. So y'all just be kind to people. You don't never know what somebody else might be going through. Just because they look like $1 million, don't mean that's how they feel. And it does not mean that that's their truth at that moment. All of us are in some kind of process, working toward progress. Okay? So I'm gonna go. I haven't had anything to eat today. I'm starving. And I just want to come by and say hey to everybody and have our little chat. All right? Until next time, I love you all. Be kind to somebody. You'll never know what somebody else is going through. All right? All right. Bye-bye.